The Overlook Hotel stood majestically against the backdrop of the Colorado Rockies, its grandeur masking a sinister secret. The imposing structure, with its countless windows and sprawling grounds, seemed to watch over the landscape with an almost sentient presence. Jack Torrance, a struggling writer with a troubled past, embraced the opportunity to be its winter caretaker. He saw it as a chance to escape his demons and start anew, away from the chaos of his previous life. A chance for solitude, he believed, to reignite his stalled writing career. The isolation, he thought, would provide the perfect environment to focus on his work, free from distractions and the pressures of daily life. The hotel, a labyrinth of empty corridors and echoing silence, promised the perfect sanctuary. Its vast, empty halls seemed to stretch on forever, offering a sense of peace and quiet that Jack desperately craved. Yet an undercurrent of unease ran through Jack from the start. The hotel's silence was not comforting but oppressive, and the shadows seemed to move just out of the corner of his eye. Manager Stuart Ullman, a practical man with a keen sense of the hotel's character, felt compelled to warn Jack about its history. He spoke with a seriousness that hinted at the gravity of his words. The isolation, he cautioned, could be overwhelming. The winter months were harsh, and the snow could cut them off from the outside world entirely, leaving them at the mercy of the hotel's whims. He spoke of Charles Grady, a previous caretaker, who succumbed to a particularly gruesome fate. The story was not just a warning but a grim reminder of the hotel's dark past. Grady, driven to madness by the solitude, had murdered his family and then taken his own life. The tale was chilling, a stark contrast to the hotel's outward beauty. A chilling tale, but Jack dismissed it as a tragic anecdote, refusing to let superstition cloud his judgment. He was determined to make the most of this opportunity, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, Jack's son Danny experienced a terrifying premonition. His visions were vivid and disturbing, filled with images that no child should ever see. His imaginary friend Tony showed him flashes of blood and the chilling word, "Red Rum." These visions were more than just nightmares, they were warnings of the horrors to come. Danny, gifted with a rare psychic ability called Shining, had always sensed the presence of something sinister lurking beneath the surface. His ability allowed him to see things others couldn't, and what he saw at the Overlook terrified him. The Overlook, with its dark history and oppressive silence, amplified his fears, sending shivers down his spine. The hotel's very walls seemed to whisper secrets, and the air was thick with a sense of impending doom. He knew, with unwavering certainty, that something was deeply wrong. The feeling of dread was inescapable, and he couldn't shake the sense that they were not alone. As the family of three journeyed from the bustling streets of Boulder to the secluded mountainside, the weight of the Overlook's presence grew heavier. The closer they got, the more palpable the sense of foreboding became. The winding road cutting through dense forests seemed to stretch endlessly, mirroring the growing anxiety within the car. Each turn brought them closer to the unknown, and the tension was almost unbearable. The Overlook awaited them, its presence a promise and a threat. It stood as a silent sentinel, ready to reveal its secrets to those who dared to enter, and the Torrance family was about to step into its shadow. Ullman, a man of routine and stark honesty, laid bare the details of the Grady incident, his voice devoid of sensationalism. He was a man who believed in facts, in the cold, hard truth, and he presented the story with a clinical precision that left no room for doubt or embellishment. Grady, he explained, had come to the Overlook seeking the same solace as Jack. The hotel, with its grand architecture and serene surroundings, promised a refuge from the chaos of the outside world. He had a wife and two young daughters, their laughter once echoing through the grand halls. The family had seemed happy, their presence bringing a warmth to the otherwise cold and imposing structure of the hotel. But the isolation, the immense weight of the empty hotel, had slowly chipped away at Grady's sanity. The vast, empty corridors, the silence that seemed to stretch on forever, it all began to take a toll on his mind. The darkness, Ullman continued, had seeped into Grady's mind, whispering terrible things. It was as if the hotel itself was alive, its malevolent spirit reaching out to ensnare Grady in its grasp. It spoke of power, of control, of shaping the world according to its own twisted design. These whispers, these insidious thoughts began to dominate Grady's mind, warping his perception of reality. Grady, consumed by his delusions, had turned on his family, the very people he had vowed to protect. The love and warmth that once filled their lives were replaced by fear and violence. The details, Ullman spared, were too gruesome to recount. The horror of what had transpired was something that words could scarcely capture. He spoke of the discovery of the bodies, the chilling silence that hung heavy in the air, the indelible stain of violence that had seeped into the very foundation of the Overlook. The hotel, once a place of grandeur and elegance, had become a monument to tragedy. Jack, though visibly unsettled by the tale, maintained an air of composure. He listened intently, absorbing every detail, his mind racing with thoughts and fears. He was a man, he assured Ullman, who thrived in solitude. The isolation that had driven Grady to madness, he believed, would be a source of inspiration for him. He had his writing, his family, and a fierce determination to conquer his demons. The Overlook, with its quiet and seclusion, seemed like the perfect place to do just that. The darkness that had consumed Grady, he believed, wouldn't find purchase in his mind. He was confident in his ability to resist the malevolent forces that had claimed his predecessor. He was stronger, more resilient. His willpower, he thought, would be enough to keep the darkness at bay, or so he desperately wanted to believe. Deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted, but he chose to ignore it, focusing instead on his resolve. Ullman, though unconvinced, chose not to press further. He had seen many come and go, each with their own assurances and bravado, only to be broken by the Overlook's insidious influence. The Overlook, he knew, had a way of revealing its secrets in its own time. It was a place that thrived on mystery and darkness, a place where the past never truly stayed buried. He could only hope that Jack was strong enough to withstand its insidious allure. The hotel had a way of testing the limits of one's sanity, and Ullman feared for the Torrance family. As he handed over the keys, a silent plea for their safety escaped his lips. He knew that once the doors closed behind them, the Overlook would begin its work. The fate of the Torrance family now rested in the hands of the Overlook, its presence looming large, a silent observer to their unfolding drama. The hotel, with its dark history and malevolent spirit, would watch and wait, ready to reveal its true nature. Danny Torrance, a boy of uncommon perceptiveness, had always felt the presence of things unseen. His gift, the Shining, allowed him glimpses into a realm beyond human comprehension. It was a gift that both fascinated and terrified him, a door to a world of wonder and unspeakable horrors. And the Overlook, he soon realized, was a place where the veil between worlds ran thin. His first vision came unbidden, a horrifying tableau that unfolded in his mind's eye. Two young girls, twins, identical in their appearance, stood at the end of a hallway, their vacant eyes staring into his soul. Their dresses, once pristine white, were stained crimson, the color of fresh blood. Their lips moved, forming words he couldn't hear, but their meaning was chillingly clear. "Come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever." The vision, brief but potent, left Danny shaken to his core. He knew with chilling certainty that the girls were no figment of his imagination. They were real, residues of a tragedy that had unfolded within the walls of the Overlook. Their presence, playful yet menacing, hinted at the darkness that permeated the hotel. Danny, his small body trembling, retreated into himself, desperate to escape the chilling gaze of the Grady twins. Section 4. Scars of the Past, a Family Secret. Wendy Torrance, a woman of quiet strength, harbored a secret pain, a shadow from their past, a night of drunken rage that had left an indelible mark on their family. Jack, battling his own demons, had lost control, his frustration boiling over in a moment of terrifying violence. Danny, caught in the crossfire of his father's anger, had suffered a dislocated shoulder, his cries of pain echoing through their small apartment. The memory, a source of shame and guilt for both Jack and Wendy, hung over them like a specter. It was a constant reminder of Jack's potential for darkness, of the fragility of their happiness. Jack, haunted by his actions, had vowed to never touch alcohol again. He had sought solace in sobriety, clinging to it as a lifeline. Wendy, though deeply hurt, had chosen to forgive, her love for Jack and Danny a beacon of hope in their troubled lives. The Overlook, she feared, with its isolation and oppressive atmosphere, threatened to unravel the fragile peace they had built. Jack, she observed, was becoming increasingly withdrawn, his moods unpredictable. The silence of the mountains, the very thing he had craved, seemed to be amplifying the darkness within him. Wendy prayed, with every fiber of her being, that history wouldn't repeat itself, that the Overlook wouldn't claim another victim to its sinister charm. Section 5. The Shining, a Gift and a Curse. Dick Halloran, the Overlook's head chef, possessed a secret of his own, a secret that was both a blessing and a burden. He too had the Shining, a gift he shared with Danny, the young boy who had recently arrived at the hotel with his family. Halloran recognized the spark in the young boy's eyes, the flicker of recognition when their minds brushed against each other in the vast expanse of the Overlook. It was an unspoken connection, a bond forged in the silent language of the mind. In a quiet corner of the hotel kitchen, amidst the aroma of baking bread and simmering soups, Halloran shared his gift with Danny, explaining the nature of their shared ability. He spoke of the Shining as a light, a beacon that could illuminate the unseen. The Shining, he said, his voice low and soothing, is like a light inside you. It lets you see things others can't, hear whispers from far away, and feel the emotions of those around you. It lets you see things others can't, hear whispers from far away. But with this gift comes great responsibility and danger. He cautioned Danny about the dangers of the Shining, of the darkness that lurked in the corners of the world, eager to latch onto the light. The Overlook, he explained, was a place where this darkness thrived. He spoke of the Overlook, of its hunger for the Shining, its ability to amplify and distort even the purest of intentions. The hotel, with its long and twisted history, was a magnet for the supernatural. Before leaving for the winter, Halloran gave Danny a stark warning. He knew the boy would need to be vigilant, to protect himself from the malevolent forces within the hotel. "Beware of room 237, he whispered, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and sadness. That room, he said, held a darkness that even the Shining couldn't penetrate. That room, it holds a darkness that even the Shining can't penetrate. It was a place where the shadows were thickest, where the malevolence was most potent." He urged Danny to stay away, to avoid its pull at all costs. The room was a trap, a snare for the unwary, and Halloran knew that Danny's safety depended on his ability to resist its lure. The warning, heavy with unspoken truths, settled in Danny's mind, a chilling premonition of the horrors that awaited. The boy understood the gravity of Halloran's words, feeling the weight of the responsibility that came with his gift.